sunny day. Everything's hey. Hey everybody, this is John Gebretatose. I guess another beautiful episode of Making Waves with John Gebretatose. Here we are in the studio, and just jumped in the studio here to record a live episode. I'm just saying the things twice. Today's episode is going to be Jay Smooth, and he's in the room. Okay, boom. So once I get this tripod on, I swear to God, it's gonna be, once this tripod is, look at this, bam, look at us, fancy. All right, got that, and we got to do a plug in here. Look at that. By next week, I predict everybody's going to be savvy with technology. Grandma's going to be on TikTok. Like, everybody's going to be. There's no need for, Apple Genius ever. Okay, let me connect Jay Smooth. And boom. Jay!
What's up, sir? You can hear me?
Yeah! Can you hear me?
Okay, wow. Yes, sir.
Boom. Reporting live from house arrest, worldwide house arrest.
Indeed.
So I guess let's jump right into it. Who are you? What have you done? What's your gang?
What have I done? My God, what have I done? My name is Jay Smooth. I've been doing media a long time. I started working in radio back when I was 16 years old here in New York City. We have had a station named WBAI Radio. Long-running left-wing counterculture institution. It's where Abby Hoffman, Bob Dylan used to hang out back in the days. Malcolm X used to come on the airwaves. It's the station where the George Carlin's 7 Dirty Words case went to the Supreme Court. It was from BAI playing that routine on there. So as I grew up in a very, left-wing countercultural activist and also creative family. And so I grew up listening to WBAI radio, and when I was 16 years old, I got an internship there and worked my way up the ranks to doing my own show starting in 1991. I started a hip-hop show named The Underground Railroad, which went on to be New York's longest-running hip-hop radio show, Underground Railroad. We helped to build New York's underground hip-hop scene in the 90s, along with my underground radio family, like Bobbito and Stretch Armstrong. Bobbito actually took me under his wing and connected me to all the record labels, was a big part of helping me out early on. And we had a whole family of underground shows and a really dope underground community. People like the Lyricist Lounge used to meet up with them at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe.
The Lyricist Lounge, oh man.
Yeah, there was just a real dope community that I got to be a big part of helping to build.
Yeah.
Got to give a lot of my favorite artists some of their first exposure. And over the years, got a chance to use that platform hip-hop gave me to speak on issues that I care about. And once things moved on to the internet, I also started one of the first hip-hop blogs at hiphopmusic.com. And over the years, transitioned from that into doing video blogs. And I started a website named Ill Doctrine, which is what most people know me for now. And that sort of became a platform where I speak more to cultural, political issues from a hip-hop lens, and just try and find real but compassionate ways to talk about what's going on in the world.
That's it right there. I love that combination, because it's like, if you come from problematic, toxic situations, then that's the challenge. But you know that that's the right move. You want to be compassionate and loving, and also have passion for justice. How could you not right now? All right, so there's so many places to start, so many different things, but like all episodes, we want to start out by saying, Bumble, sponsor me. I know it's backwards, I can't read it, but my friend Joe Bernard said, just put the phone in the mirror, or whatever you got to do. Just know Bumble needs to sponsor this.
What's up, Bumble?
Come on, Bumble. Get in here, Bumble.
You better get with it.
The coronavirus and all that, this lockdown situation has really made everybody feel a certain anxiety and all that. But I was just like, man, there's a lot of artists I know that are all over the world that are going to keep doing what they're doing regardless of the quarantine, lockdown, or not. And I was like, you know, and I've been talking to these artists this whole time in my life because I resonate with people that they don't like a certain thing the way it's going, they build their own. And that's what you've done your whole life. You've been a part of that. You've been part of like major communities, like man, that like 90s rap era. That's like there's no other era I can think of that was like I guess maybe punk, you know, maybe the same vibe of like, we don't need you. We don't care. We don't care about like fire codes. What?
Right. And that's, I mean, that's the whole origins of hip hop in the 70s is people coming together in adversity and using the scraps of technology around them to carve out space for community. You know what I'm saying?
That's
South
right.
Bronx, poorest county in the United States.
Yeah.
People didn't have anywhere to just come together and have a party on Friday nights. They figured out we're going to plug these turntables into the lamppost and we're going to build community.
Yeah. Whether you like
and
it or
we,
not.
you know, we, right.
You're going to hear it. Y'all going to hear it.
Right.
Because it's going to be loud. Well, let's take this time to break dance, shall we? No. All right, so where do you want to start? I'd like to ask, what are the roadblocks that you remember vividly? So for you, it's interesting to have, it's the dream to have mentors to be like, look, where I'm taking you, you already know it's going to be rough, but I'm here with you. That I love that because that's the way it should be. What roadblocks still having mentors with you along the way early on did you notice, you know, with trying to do your art, trying to, you know, have radio happen for hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, I came to BAI right at a pivotal time for hip hop culture in general and hip hop radio. I don't think people below a certain age know how special it used to be to hear hip hop on the radio at all.
Yeah,
like in the 1980s, if you lived in New York, which is the Mecca, you could hear hip hop on the radio from 9 p.m. to midnight on Friday night and Saturday night, either on KISS or BLS. That was it. Except for like maybe one or two Run DMC songs, you had to be at home at those hours on those two nights in order to hear hip hop on the radio. And then you had the underground shows that were already around in the 80s at places like WHBI 105.9. But it used to be a really precious thing to carve out any space on terrestrial radio for hip hop. And when I started doing my show in 1991, that was still the case. There was no such thing as a hip hop radio station until a few years later, when Funk Master Flex kind of brute forced Hot 97. Like Hot 97 was like a dance disco station. And Flex kind of led the way into shifting it over into being the first real hip hop radio station. So before that, you really relied on these sort of either college or community radio outlets to carve out little pockets where you could support the culture. And WBAI was, you know, it was always a very left-wing progressive station. But even for them, hip hop, I think there were some people there that understood young people listen to it and it speaks about politics sometimes. So they had an idea, well, we should probably get on board with this because we need a younger audience and it's speaking truth to power. But they didn't really understand artistically that hip hop had merit. So then like they liked that I was conversant in issues and could talk about politics on the mic and I could represent hip hop that way. But getting them to understand like this is actually a dope art form that's speaking to people musically, and we should be giving it a platform for that reason. Was like that was
they're watching House Party. They're thinking like, oh, this is a fun, cute like art form. This is nice. They're not hearing the like messaging and like the things that people are speaking to in it. You would breaking it down.
But also a lot of times a lot of people at a place like WBAI, they'd understand the messaging, but they wouldn't understand Public Enemy is the most important group in the world because they're the most musically avant-garde group in the world. And if it wasn't for that, nobody would be checking for whatever content is in the lyrics. So getting them to understand like this Cool G rap record I'm going to play, this MC Light record I'm going to play is just as important, even if it doesn't have explicit political messages, because we're pioneering a musical form right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. So you were able to break down like, no, these choices these artists made, that there's some thinking behind it.
Right. Like that's like if there was a jazz show on BAI, they wouldn't be like, well, what issues is Coltrane speaking to in this solo?
Right.
They would understand he's speaking to people's spirits with the sound of the music.
Yeah.
So
He's high. He's real high, and that's good. And
I was able to get in the door by them respecting how hip hop spoke to issues. But once I was in there, it was a big part of my mission to make y'all understand, like, this is an important musical form.
Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. Okay, so I'm about 37. I subscribe to Tidal. You know, Jay-Z's Blueprint album dropped on September 11th. That was probably a pivotal point in my life. Just a little snapshot of like where I'm at on the hip hop timeline. So I'm coming in, I think, right after you had done all this like work. I'm guessing, you know, in terms of the context. So for people that build community in that way, how was it when you cut to like Big Pimpin', you cut to, you know, this other era? Like, it's not bad. It's all the ability, all the skills, all the technical stuff, all the authenticity, but it's just like dripping in jewelry. It's dripping in, you know, things that are kind of like, all right, I guess we have money now, hip hop. How did you respond to that? I know you had your outlet with radio, but like internally, you know?
I mean, that's a process that had been ongoing. I mean, even in the earliest stages, I mean, for people who are around for hip hop culture in the 70s, a lot of them felt like hip hop in its pure form died when Rapper's Delight came out. Because to them, hip hop wasn't even supposed to exist in the form of a record that you could sell in stores. Hip hop's supposed to manifest in the community phenomenon of us having a party. These DJs and MCs doing something for 2 hours, 4 hours in front of a crowd. So that there are a lot of people for whom it was getting diluted right there. But of course, the blessing and the curse, the compromise is the global impact that hip hop culture had between then and now is made possible by that compromise. Like that compromise where it became commodified, people like Sylvia Robinson came in like, well, we can make some money off this.
Right.
In some ways, that's the beginning of a process of losing the purity, but it also expands our ability to connect to people around the world and build this culture in so many different ways. So there's always been complexity there. You know, there's always been materialistic raps. You can go watch the movie Wild Style. Busy Bee is, you know, he's typing out his name with dollar bills back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Of course, back at that time, the materialism is more aspirational. Like nobody is getting rich. You're dreaming of getting rich in your music. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest shift is you would hear someone like Run DMC rap about My Adidas, and people will take that as sort of commodified and materialistic because they're saying a brand name. But if you listen to the song, that's really like a populist message of these humble brands that we're able to buy. These are the shoes that we're wearing when we're going around the world and representing this culture on our own terms. So there was a different context. There was a different subtext to 10 years later. You're dropping all these names of all these European brands that I never heard of, much less could afford to buy. I was doing my show. I started doing my show in 91, which is right at the point that's leading up to what you might call the Puff Daddy shiny suit era.
Yes, along with Full House, whatever.
Right. When rappers are making moves into the mainstream and making money where it's sort of like, well, yeah, I've made it now and I'm rapping about stuff I have that you, the listener, will never have. It definitely took a corner. It definitely turned a corner at that point where, when I started the show in 91, I named the show The Underground Railroad because I felt like hip hop culture as a whole was still hidden from the masses and not getting the props that it should get. And I wanted to help smuggle all this stuff out to the world. A few years later, by the mid 90s, there was a lot of hip hop that was getting tons of attention from the masses, and
Yeah.
our role became more to smuggle out the other hip hop that
Ah,
deserved just as much attention, but wasn't getting as much attention as the shiny suit rap, to put it short.
got you. Name names. Name names. Like Black Thought or
Yeah, Black Thought. We definitely had Black Thought up on the show early on. And there were so many amazing underground acts like the Juggernauts.
oh yes.
I mean, everyone that people would know from Raucous Records and that whole
Yeah.
scene.
What about Snow?
You know.
Informer.
Snow, I mean, Snow was not the worst, man. That other one he had, Lonely Monday Morning, that was a pretty good track. And and it was one of our pioneers, MC Shan, was responsible for putting Snow out. So
Yeah.
some of the real heads were getting paid off of it at the very
I
least.
bet Snow's a good person. He must have been a good like dude.
Maybe.
Yeah.
In this day and age, I'm not vouching for nobody that hasn't been
Great.
vetted.
Oh, perfect. Okay, wait.
Who knows what will come out the closet? If people get milkshake ducked in a minute.
You just said milkshake duct? What is that? What is a milkshake duct?
Oh, that's how do I explain milkshake duck? So it's a meme. I'll have to send you the meme, but there was like, it's like a thing where everybody on the internet discovers milkshake duck, the duck who likes to drink milkshakes, and then the next day you find out milkshake duck is a Nazi or something like that.
And they're like, yo, look, I can't get fired, so I gotta do
anytime you think somebody is dope nowadays, it turns out there's something in the closet.
Yeah, I've been saying
Like everyone's problematic.
Yeah, I say I hope at the end of anything. I'm like, Obama, first black president, inspired a lot of people. I think he's amazing. Well, I hope he's amazing. I don't know. Like I think. I don't know. I can't confirm. I'm with you on that, and that's sad. That's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like we're all in an ongoing process of learning how to set proper expectations and learning how to evolve. I mean, I think there's got to be space for each of us to grow. I think you got to be ready to be held accountable for things. And yeah, I mean, I think that's something we're all sorting out. People take really strident positions on what they call cancel culture. And I think we have a lot of newfound power to hold each other accountable, hold powerful voices accountable. I think by far, for the most part, that's been more good than bad.
Yeah.
That's made our dialogue and our ability to make each other better. That's helped us in a lot of ways. I think there's also some excess and some behavior patterns that have come along with that we need to sort out and figure out as we go along. But I definitely, like, anytime I talk about things like that, I don't want to sound like I'm calling everything cancel culture or social justice mobs. Because I think our ability to do that is 95 times out of 100, it's been good that we've been able to call each other out.
Yeah, I am the people that are like anti any of those that are just like, oh, they're taking my freedom. I can't say. That's a small percentage. There's not that many people that really, in my heart, I believe that. I don't know if that's statistically true. You know, it's a small amount of people that I've heard that are comedians anyway, that are like, oh man, censorship or political, what's that? Yeah, just like, I was about to do a panel about that in Berlin, which I can't be in right now because.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was political correctness, right? Like that whole term.
Right.
And that makes me think like it had a meaning a long time ago, but now it's going to mean a whole bunch of different things. And it's like, who are we talking to when we talk about, like, me? Political correctness, that means something way different than the head of Bumble. You know, they're talking about political correctness. That's their whole deal. And they got to do it for legal reasons, maybe, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what I love is that you went into a space. I'm trying to loop it back to, oh, wait, Ashanti wrote a question. She got a couple of questions. Ashanti is my best friend here. She's supposed to be in Berlin with me. Define underground. Also, who's the greatest rapper you've heard, but the world has never known? Ooh, good one, Ashanti. Ask him a question. And then hopefully we'll look up this person.
I mean, underground is always a relative concept, of course. I mean, there's people who would think of Black Thought as underground, like you said. Then there's millions of people who know him compared to someone like, I don't know, John Robinson or Ty Phoenix that I grew up or came up loving here in New York that probably has a way smaller audience than Black Thought, but I think is really dope. There's people to whom John Robinson and Ty Phoenix might be big names, and they would point you to someone even lower. Like everything is relative. And if I hadn't named my show the Underground Railroad 30 years ago, I probably would use that term a lot less since it's so subjective. I mean, I think there's a lot of artists out there that have more of an audience or a different type of audience than each other. Like, I want to support whatever is dope. As far as the greatest rapper I've heard, but the world has never known, it's always so hard to answer that because there's so much material out there. There's so many different scenes and subsets out there. And I'm always following the battle rap scene as well as all the musical artists.
They're so good.
They're so good. They're the most creative writers and also some of the most regressive thinkers.
Yes.
It's frustrating because it's the most problematic content that's put together in the most virtuosic form. That's like, I don't believe in such a thing as guilty pleasures, but I got to do a lot of compartmentalizing sometime to watch battle rap. And when I want to,
I'm right there with you. I'm like, okay, I'm not repeating this ever, like, to myself.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I do want to shout out though, and this will go to supporting stuff that people don't know as well. My friend Sarah Khanna, who she's a veteran of the battle scene, and she used to rap under a different name, Lyric. Back in the 90s, she was part of that whole raucous lyricist lounge scene as Lyric. She used to rhyme with Jean Grey and Apani B. Fly all the time back in those days. She goes by Sarah Khanna nowadays, and she has a league she's running here in New York named the Prism Battle League, which is an all LGBTQ battle league. They just had an event a couple of weeks ago, which will be the last public event I go to for the foreseeable future. Didn't know that at the time. But but got to see all these really dope queer battle MCs going at each other. And it's just really, they're doing really dope things, and it's a really dope scene. So I recommend checking out Prism Battle League if you want to look them up.
Prism Battle League, and it's Sarah
Prism,
Connor?
P-R-I-S-M, not like
Prism. Okay. Yeah, easy to. But Sarah Connor.
K-A-N-A, Sarah Khanna.
Sarah Khanna.
You know, you got to have the hip hop spelling.
Khanna. I mean, that's okay. So you just always been in the culture of people that are like, nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it the way I want to do it. I don't care, and I know it's gonna be hard, but fuck it, I don't care, right? Like, I don't need.
That's all. I mean, that's definitely been hip hop spirit for a long time, and I mean, you know, things are never completely pure. Like I said, I don't want to sell sort of rose-colored narratives of things. You know, it's always compromise. There's always friction between art and commerce. There's always finding a day job.
But it's
you know, it's the independent creative artist hustle. You find ways to persevere and stick with it. And I think this is a time when we're going to be facing hardships and looking for ways to adapt and support each other. So I hope that sort of hip hop spirit is going to be flowing.
Yeah, hell yeah, I love it. I'm not, again, a historian. My parents are from Eritrea. Country in East Africa, had a 30-year civil war, and the whole idea about them doing a 30-year civil war is nuts to me. Like, to have. And they won, by the way, like, for those that don't know. So there's I haven't even really dug deep. Like, I've only done like the surface of understanding like what principles they had to develop for themselves. Just rules and engagement, and how they had strategies to maintain each other with 9 different tribes all working together to like win their independence. And there's just within that so much solidarity and sacrifice and just like savvy ways of upgrading different like tribes or like regions. So you had to be really like clever and have so much integrity and authenticity and all these sort of things. Like when people like Black Panther came out and they talked about Wakanda, and they're like, oh, that place, like it really reminded me of like Eritrea. Like we've rejected the most amount in foreign aid because it usually comes with some sort of fuckery. It comes with like, oh, here's some money. Now get this Christianity, or or one time the UN they wanted to be there just to like police whatever. And then
Hmm.
they reported to have like one or two like cases of sexual assault. So it was like that's it. And we said the UN can no longer be in our country. Like so many things that are just like radical, but nobody. I feel like on the outside watching, if you're in mainstream America, you just go, "What a thorny country." Oh, why don't they just
Hmm.
like come on, join this?
Hmm.
Come on, stop being so. So then they put embargoes on us, but nobody ever asked the question: what would make them want to throw the UN out? What would make
Right.
underground like? Why would you have to start that? What happened to the climate where you had to be like, you know what? No, we need to play more. 2 days is not enough, and I'm all about that. What happened to you? Yeah. So what happened to you? What's your fight? Who did it? Why?
My, my fight, I mean, there's always fights on multiple fronts.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, I grew up a very isolated, introverted kid. Not that there's anything wrong with being introverted per se, but I grew up in circumstances where I couldn't really have a healthy balance with it.
Hmm.
And getting to be a part of the hip hop community and the radio community at WBAI kind of helped me find a place for myself and
Hmm.
believe that I belong, should have a seat at the table, should be seen and heard. But it's still it's a lifelong struggle. It's not my natural state of being to believe that I should keep showing up.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a funny thing when you sort of build a sense of self through uh, finding a media platform, which is something I think a lot of people do now
Hmm.
because we're all on the internet. I sort of did that in a way, in
Yeah.
in sort of a proto form, getting to be on
Yeah.
the radio starting at 16. Um,
Damn. You're the first
it, it's
YouTuber.
it sets you up to be getting a lot of validation, but you're building a self-esteem that is it a self-esteem or it when your esteem is based on getting this sort of outsized validation from large numbers of people by doing things
Yeah.
up on the stage or in public, like it's not the same sort of foundation of self-esteem that you would have from interpersonal relationships and sort of building that up in a natural way. So
Yeah.
for someone who's already like neurotic and insecure,
Yeah.
introverted, could easily become isolated.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard to sort of maintain a stable relationship
Yeah.
with the work and feeling fulfilled by it and feeling like I should keep showing up.
Yeah. Hold on one
Um,
second. Bumble.
yep,
This is
yep.
where we're talking about Bumble. This is what we're saying. It helps us connect with other people and relationships. All right.
You can find that one-to-one connection at Bumble.
Bumble. Bam.
Yeah, so I mean, that's sort of an ongoing thing that I learned
Yeah.
to try and manage and figure out. And
Yeah.
this time when we're all going to be sitting at home finding new ways to connect, that's the
Yeah.
time that I'm trying to push myself to just show up and stream live and connect with people
Yeah.
that way, not let my creative perfectionism become a way to put it off.
Mm. Good. Thank God for that. Cause like now, I don't know, like, I just said, I'm so like, man, I need to get inspired. I'm like, oh man, I would love to talk to such and such right now, but I know that they're busy, but I could use just like a little like snapshot of where they're at, like where they're at right now, this week, this time in life. I know where America's at. I know, but I need to know where people are at who have similar points of view. That to me gives me life in a certain way,
Yeah.
you know?
I think people really like just having that regular check-in with someone that they feel like is a kindred spirit. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's why conversational podcasts, apart from the serial type of podcast, I think
Oh,
most podcasts people are connecting with just because they want to have that friend that they check in with while
yeah.
they're either, back when we used to go to and from work during that time,
Right.
or now that we're at home, maybe while you're washing the dishes or getting ready to work from home. Like just having those voices that are what Wendy Williams calls a friend in your head that you're going to check in
Mm,
with. I think we're
that's
probably going to have more and more appetite for that. And
I
I feel
hope
like that,
so.
hopefully that's the way I can contribute by coming on here.
I hope, yeah, well, you've already, yeah, thank you. I'm realizing yesterday talking to Shannon, like, oh, this is very important. Other artists, validating other artists. Oh, yeah, I guess we haven't been doing that in a like specific way that was like saying, hey, nah, we're out here. It's not easy. It's fun though. And here's what I like about it. Here's what I'm going through right now. I can't, would you call it the, what was that meme?
Which one? The milkshake duck?
A milkshake duck. God damn. I done milkshake duck, and now I got to figure my shit out. I mean, internally, I'm conflicted. So right now, I'm taking a break. You know, little things like that. I need to hear that just to know that, like, other artists are going through their own process and journey. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is feeling like a crunch time for a lot of creative people. You know, I'm one of those people who relies on gigs and projects. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a type of stress that people are feeling right now if they're on a salary and that salary is threatened. And there's a type of stress that you're feeling if you rely on gigs and projects. I'm definitely in that camp where I've had a couple of paying gigs I was relying on canceled, and a long-term project that was going to be my main source of income is a project that we go and record in the studio. It was supposed to launch this week, so that's obviously postponed indefinitely. So it's definitely a time of figuring out how to adapt. And you know, I'm loath to spend too much time feeling sorry for myself on that note, because there's obviously so many people who are vulnerable in such crisis level ways right now. But yeah, you know, I think in different ways, so many facets of society are going to be feeling the crunch, dealing with social isolation, trying to find ways to either do creative work or be creative about finding ways to work while you're having the stress of this social isolation, worrying about your family, not being able to go see your mom. Like there's so many types of stressors that are going to be hitting all of us at once. You know, I think if there are ways for us to come together like this and chop it up, I think that's going to be a dope resource.
I hope, I agree. I hope so. Bumble, get at me. No, thank you, Jay.
So how do people use, if you're using something like Bumble, what do you do with it now?
I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
Does Bumble just get?
I don't know. I haven't figured that part out. I just threw the hat on. I said, sponsor me. Here we are. I think, I don't know if it comes down to it. I probably would ask for a whole. Are you asking like what they would give me in terms of sponsors? Is that what you mean?
No. I'm saying like if you're doing a dating website now, what do you do?
Oh, right. You chat.
We can't meet.
No, you cannot. There's a streaming option now too. You could video chat on there.
Oh, okay. So you could go on a Bumble and then agree to stream with each other.
Right. This is really turning into a Bumble commercial. I'm kind of thinking you get on there and you're like, the commercial's like, we've been so busy, it's been hard to connect, you know, our schedules or whatever. Let's get on video chat. What the fuck? Why not? Let me do this thing that's incredibly uncomfortable. Because I don't have the time to do the other thing. It's even more like anxiety ridden. So, but it's also the new like wave. This is just where we're at. Like it's new normal to be able to stream. A week ago, it wasn't. It was kind of normal, but like now it's normal. Like to see people FaceTime me, it would be like, either to me they were a rapper, or like, you know, somebody's like on their FaceTime with mom or their kid. But now, it's like, let me FedEx is at the door. Let me FaceTime them and tell them come on back. It's very easy to do. I like that.
Yeah, I got to have a cable technician come over the weekend. I think I'm gonna stand in the back room and talk to him on IG Live. Okay, put that there. We're good. Let yourself out.
That's right. 6 feet, my guy. What do you need over here? I'll do it. I'll do whatever. You need a splitter? I'll cut that cable. All right, so here's the hard question. Love, right? So how does Jay Smooth approach love? This is aside from the work now. I'm just asking you about relationship stuff for the fuck of it. What's your status? You know what I mean? Are you on the dating apps? Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I am not.
Okay.
And I don't usually get into my personal life, but I am seeing someone.
Okay.
I wasn't in a relationship for a long time. As some people will know, my partner passed away in 2015. But I've been coming back around to having some space for that in my life.
Oh man, that's great. You just keep evolving. I love that because it's modeling for other people. Like, you can You can overcome things. You can have a challenge, and it'll be a process. And you've let us in your own way. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a process that continues. You know, I don't think the grieving process ever ends, and having that sudden horrible loss happen right at the beginning of the campaign that led to Trump getting elected, you know, it also really, both of those things really alienated me from wanting to do my media work. On top of the sort of the struggle that I have to want to show up in general, even without that, it's been a journey of coming back around, which I've been working my way back towards the last couple of years. And I mean, my hope is amidst all of this crisis that this will keep pushing me to show up and share with people. I'm doing my radio show again on Saturdays. Going to be starting regular live streams of some sort, figuring out what kind of show that'll be. Trying to just show up and do things.
Just try.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing for me to remember as a creative person is that like you can't figure out the plan and then start doing it. You got to start doing it and then figure out the plan.
Yes.
So I'm trying to by necessity embrace that in these days and weeks and months to come.
Yes, I love that. I hate that everywhere I look, I'm just seeing like finished end products of stuff. I don't mind. I like it, but it's like always a reminder to me, like, maybe I should do better. And it's taxing. I'm exhausted. I wake up and I'm like, I don't even know if I got it today because it's not finished. Whatever it is I'm doing. It's so nice to just see something going through its process. Like, let it be what it is for the moment and watch it grow. That's beautiful to me. Everybody's and I get it. Like we've done.
Yeah, and I guess coming from improv background, that's a big part of cultivating that sort of openness to letting things evolve how they're going to evolve.
Oh, it totally helped me. Because when you start out with stand up, you are working your jokes or whatever, but at least you have something. But with improv, it was like I had to just drop everything and just be present in the moment, which then taught me that, I'm present in the moment, but I'm bringing everything from the past. It's just going to show up naturally. All my past experiences, things, interactions, that'll be there. I got to just trust. And I was like, okay, then that's the scariest thing I've ever done. Fine, I guess I'll do that. You want me to just go ahead and be completely vulnerable? All right, fine. In front of an audience? All right, here we go. And then, with the road that we have as artists and people that are entrepreneurs, it's some days it's sunny, some days it's not. And when it's not, it can be really hard. But I think falling in love with like this idea of like, watch it just be ugly for a while. Watch it be messy. I had to learn to fall in love with that. And that's been, man, that's been really, really cool to just give myself that. And and also you can't do that in battle rap. It's like, it's gotta be, it's its own thing. With battle rap, if your performers show up ready to go.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how battle rap has evolved because there was a previous stage of evolution where you were expected to just flow off the top and battle each other. And over the time, it's evolved to you come up fully prepared. Yes. And I think those are both magical to watch in different ways. But yeah, it's this modern form where everything is written except for at the beginning of the round, you might improvise a rebuttal to the other guy's last round.
Yes.
But other than that, everything's meticulously prepared, and it's sort of like an Olympic event where you do all this training and then you get one chance to execute perfectly, and that's it.
That's right. It's just like stand-up. You got that one shot for that joke. If you stumble, you stutter, sorry, they're not gonna laugh at that again.
It's like, and the amount of writing that a battle rapper does, it's like a full EP's worth of lyrics that you're only ever gonna deliver one time.
One time.
And if you stumble, it was all for naught.
Yeah, it was all for naught, and the audience will let you know in most cases.
They will very much let you know. But yeah, I think that's I don't want to sound like I'm saying, hey, there's a silver lining to this crisis because this is awful. People are going to suffer. I don't believe that we should be glad that hardship makes for better art. I think that's nonsense. I think we should be trying not to suffer, and artists do their best when they have the freedom to treat themselves well, and then they can fully focus on their art. So I'm making a separate point for that, but what you're saying is making me think of how I think it's good in a creative sense when artists have some kind of constraint on what they can do that makes you commit to your ideas. Like with this, how you set up improv to get yourself in the zone. And it was really fun watching y'all in Minneapolis sort of go through the process of finding the spark and then getting it and really making the most of it. And another example is Lee Quinones, one of the great graffiti writers. I saw him talk once about how the old days of writing on the trains in the train yard, because you had to get it up before the cops came, it forced you to fully commit. Like you had to commit to this idea and just get it done because you had a limited amount of time. You didn't know how long that time was. And you had to make peace with this work of art being ephemeral. It might get washed over tomorrow morning. It might get washed over a week from now. So within limits, you know, I would strongly prefer a way less harsh sort of constraint than the crisis that creative people are facing right now.
Right.
But I do think in a general sense, apart from that, I think it can be useful to have some kind of much smaller constraint around your art that helps you sort of commit to those ideas and stick with them.
Yeah. What do they say? Pressure bust pipes, I guess, or whatever. Implying like the kind of the same thing you're saying.
Yeah, like when there were zones of rest in peace to Prince, my musical hero. You know, there were times in his career when he was doing really sort of elaborate production sounds that fans would say, "Man, I wish we could just lock Prince in the room with like a thumb piano and a snare drum, and just see what music he would create if we could just."
Oh, it'd be so good. Everybody come out like, "Oh my God, I just heard his thumb piano song." Oh, lifted. He's that talented. Yeah, man, I wish I want to talk more about like the discipline just for a hot second. These battle rappers are disciplined because they have to be. They're putting a lot at stake. This high risk. For you, I know you talked about like it's internal. It's hard because we have our own like things that are like I'm not enough today or whatever. You know, those are real. And what man, you started at 16, so it's in you. I think to just work, right? To just like produce and create.
I mean, it's like going to the gym or something like that. When I'm in it, and it feels great. When I'm out of it, it's hard to get back in it.
Yeah. So then I think what are some like milestones or like things that you were like, oh, I remember this one time I was out of it, but this person or this situation brought me in it. Like, what were things that like just looped you in? I got sober and I was in a relationship, and my girlfriend at the time, her father was a three-sport athlete or three-season athlete, and he brought me into running. And it was because of that I felt like saved my life. And I had just like a whole new lease on life at 21. And I thought like, wow, okay. Because, you know, when you're young, you don't really, especially, you know, neighborhoods where not a lot of people that you know make it that far. We never heard of nobody grown walking around talking about, I have an IRA, guys. That's never said. So it was really like, wow, new lease on life, everything. It was her father that like did that. Is there? So give me some of those touchstone people.
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been blessed to have mentors that looked out for me in communities I was able to become a part of. When I came to WBAI at the age of 16, Anthony Sloan was a producer there who I interned under. He worked with a reporter named Amy Goodman, who is now famous for Democracy Now! Back then, she used to do the local evening news for WBAI. So I started out helping Anthony produce and engineer the evening news for Amy. And coming into WBAI, it was at that time, it was just being around all these incredibly wise, brilliant, creative people from all these different disciplines and backgrounds, activists, thinkers, musical historians, and sort of just getting to be in the studio in the front room by the front desk, hearing everyone talk shop and share their stories and perspectives. It was just an amazing thing to get to be a part of and sort of absorb and see up close what wisdom and expertise look like. I think it's a really helpful thing if you want to get good, to be around people who are way better than you. And being around people who are each experts in their fields, having devoted 40 years to whether it's union organizing or understanding a certain genre of jazz music, it humbles you in an important way. It lets you know most people in the world who call themselves experts are not really experts. The bar you need to actually meet to be an expert is a lot higher than most people are exposed to. And there's going to be a lifelong journey of learning more and more and getting better and better, that I got to sort of learn that there's a way that you just observe the energy and the affect and sort of the way of inhabiting the world that someone brings when they have truly sought expertise in something, that you have to be in front of it to really learn it. And it's the same thing with having the best rappers and MCs in the world come into my studio over the years, like getting to have someone like Pharoah Monch or Black Thought or Jean Grey, sitting in front of them, watching them rap. Like, it's doing a radio show is the best job in the world. Like, all the best rappers in the world, all my favorite artists come and sit in a room like this and perform for me. It's like, it's me and them and my people in the room. It's incredible. It's like, it's been such a blessing to have gotten to do that for so many years. And but you get to learn so much about how a master MC deploys their craft when you're sitting right in front of them watching them do it. There's so many little intangible things with their focus and their breath control that you learn from being right in front of them that you could never get from a million hours just listening on your headphones or watching videos. And I think that blessing of being able to have community where you absorb other people's creative energy and passion and expertise, I think that's when I don't feel like it's worth continuing to show up, being around other people who are doing the work and being able to absorb their spirit. I think that's always been what kept me going.
Oh man, that's so cool. Also, to just like see the little details, I never thought about that. All those little things, like
because I always fancied myself an aspiring MC, or at least a hobbyist. So I would come, I'd come in with my little raps, and then a young man became my intern on the radio show, and he was very humble. He didn't even let us know that he rapped. Then one day he was like, I spit a little bit too. I go by the name Mr. Voodoo. And we let him, so me and my friend Trevor, my first co-host, his name was Trevor, AKA Z Black. Trevor Baldwin, he's actually James Baldwin's nephew. I'll name drop a little bit. So me and Z Black, we went to high school together. We fancied ourselves rapping a little bit. So we both did our little amateur verses. Then Mr. Voodoo, who we only knew him as Agu at that time, he got on the mic and started spitting. It was one of those revelatory moments like, wait, this guy that we've been hanging out with is a genius. Well, this guy is actually a rapper. So getting to have Agu, aka Mr. Voodoo, who went on to be part of a group named Natural Elements, that I highly recommend checking out. Natural Elements. You can find their old music online if you search around. Getting to have Mr. Voodoo around every week watching, and he was like our in-house MC. So whenever like Das Effects or whoever else came in, when Jay-Z came in, like it would be Jay-Z is going to go back and forth with Mr. Voodoo.
That's amazing.
And we're going to run him through the gauntlet. So getting to watch Mr. Voodoo every week and just seeing all of the little things that make up a true virtuoso's presence as they perform their art. Like, that was such a gift being able to do that.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. And also I love that, like, Because yeah, I've had a little tiny like idea about being a rapper, like a song, and then met somebody that was like, oh yeah, and then you hear them rap and you go, oh, well,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm gonna go do comedy then. That's what I do.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my
Right.
when they just go, and you're like, why is it when they do it, it feels good to me in my body? Do I? You're like,
Yeah.
I bet I do that too when I'm rapping. I bet I make people feel right. Yeah. It took me a long while to be like, oh, I don't think that's not. I suck, and nobody says that to other people unless it's like I don't know. I wish people were just like, no, you suck, but also here's how you could be better. That's not in hip hop. It's either just like, fuck with you or I don't. All right, so you got I got this from Giant Steps to Conference. That question of what do you need? What do you
Yes.
want?
Shout out to Giant Steps. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you that same question right now, and then I'm gonna I guess this. I feel good. We can keep going, but I want to get C. Michael in here because we got two people
Yeah.
tonight. Also, I know you got new cable. You got new cable coming in soon, right? So you about to get that.
On
What did
Sun,
you
we're
say?
upgrading. Yeah, I'm actually, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to do more live streams. So I turned my cable TV off and upgraded the internet so that y'all could see the stream a little better.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say, hey, shout out to you for making that adjustment. That's it's a small little change, relatively speaking, in life, but internally, that's like letting you know you can't turn back now. Like you got the good end, and you got to put on that show.
Right. It's one of those things. I mean, it's by necessity, it's kickstarting things I've been putting off. I've been meaning to cancel that for a few months. But
Yeah,
now that it's like batten down the hatches time,
yeah. Here we
it's
go. So,
it's both, I think it's both harder and easier to justify
yeah.
procrastination. It's harder than ever for me to want to get out of bed in the first time. But once I'm up, I'm like, well, okay, let's take care of some stuff here.
Let's get to work. And yeah. All right. So then, yeah, I just want to ask you, what do you need? What do you? Yeah. Here we are, March, Corona, lockdown, USA, worldwide.
Yeah, man. I mean, everything that I do relies on having a community of people who appreciate. So I hope everyone is taking care of themselves and each
Yeah.
other as best they can, for sure. You know, we're still at the front end of this curve that we're trying to flatten out. So I hope, we can have compassion and grace for ourselves as we figure out what's coming ahead, because it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be suffering and loss, either for us or people close to us. So, I want to send out compassion for that and hope that we all have that for each other. And I hope we take care of ourselves. And the more selfish answer to that question is I have a Patreon at patreon.com/illdoctrine, where I could definitely use a little bit more support.
Yes.
If I can get the support just a little bit higher on there month to month, it'll be a lot easier for me to sustain. We work our way through this. And I'm going to be trying to come online as much as I can and connect with y'all, give y'all content, conversation, good music. So check me out. I do the radio show every Saturday at 5:30. You can come see me at hiphopmusic.com.
5:30 Eastern Standard Time.
5:30. My apologies. 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. See, we're so chauvinistic here in New York. We don't even think about time zones.
It's true.
But yeah, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. You can catch the Even More Underground Railroad. You can catch the full archives of that show at my Patreon, patreon.com/illdoctrine.
How do you spell
You can
how do you spell
also
that? Ill Doctrine.
ILLDOCTRINE. And you can also catch highlights. Go to Spotify or iTunes and look for Ill Doctrine Radio.
Okay.
But yeah, let's keep in touch. That's the main thing I want.
Yeah.
That's all.
Let's get it. Everybody call Jay Smooth right now on his phone and just let him know. I'm just kidding.
Y'all ain't finding my number.
No, but we will. I think that's really good. I'll ask my community definitely to keep that Patreon up, because you have a body of work, a life's work. I'm excited to see what you create from this. I'm
trying to just, come on live and just figure out what it's going to be. Come on, like a few days a week,
Yeah.
Just come on and stream live, talk to the people, and
Ooh.
have faith that eventually it'll evolve into an
Mm-hmm.
actual show. We're going to
Please
know
do
what it
it.
is when it
When
comes
you,
together.
I think it was like during the Me Too movement started out or the Women's March. I think you went on and you have your YouTube. And I was like, man, this brother is breaking it down for in the moment. All the things that he is feeling, all the things that is like complicated. You were able to put words to it that I don't know how to do. I don't know a lot of people that can do. And I was like, oh, I need this. So I forgot to tell you that. That was like, I
Oh,
was like, that
well,
was a
thank you.
superpower. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
and to show us that, like, obviously we all know these are trying times. We all know there's no like roadmap for the future, but to show us like, to show us that we can be compassionate for all the different hard things. We can be compassionate for ourselves. And I think that was really cool to watch a black man, right, speak to these issues and care about it. That was important to see for myself. So if that isn't worth the live stream, I don't know what it is. So thank you.
But
And
yeah, you can connect with me on Facebook to catch the live streams for right now.
Okay.
Facebook.com/JSMOOTH995. The same name I have here.
Okay. 995. What's that about? Just last question.
That's WBAI's signal. 99.5.
Okay.
I'm no longer at WBAI, but that's always going to be the family, so I'm not ashamed to represent.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, sometimes the prisoners, I don't know. I had an analogy, but fuck it.
I wanted to hear the rest of that one.
Man, yeah. Sometimes you gotta let the. I don't have it. I don't know how to get out of it, but it was good. I had a good ending. God damn it. Here we are. Well, thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and God bless you. And I'm gonna do this on the regular. I'm not gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing this until we don't have lockdown. So you're always welcome back on here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe once you're in the groove, we can stay in it after that.
Hell yeah, Bumble, get at me, Bumble.
Yeah. So wait, do we get if the deal comes through after our episode, do I get a cut?
Of course, that's what I'm telling Bumble. Get at me now because I want Jay to get a brand new. What do you want? Can we buy Bumble? Can you please buy Jay equipment and everything he needs to do the show for a year? Boom. How about that'd be a great deal. Come on, Bumble.
Hey.
All right. Well, if you see anything from Bumble, just know it's legit.
Be messed up if I got a Bumble deal.
I wouldn't even be mad. I really wouldn't be mad. I'd be like, yeah, that's right. They're supposed to hook it up. I guess I didn't ask for nothing, and that's what I get. I wouldn't be mad though.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. I would pass it on.
No, I'd be very happy. I have a side with Bumble. I say, hey, listen now, come on, what's up? Well, you break me off a lot, and they go, well, you didn't ask for anything specific. I go, I didn't even know at the time, and then I'd be like, all right, well, let's figure out a deal. And then I guess I have to get a agent or talk to you about how deals work later. I've never been in that situation. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm highly favored and a Christian only when I need something. I guess so. Yeah, that road will cross. I'm gonna switch over to C. Michael. You're gonna love C. But until next time, brother. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, love you too. Talk to you soon, man.
Bye. All right, now C. Michael. Where is C. Michael? Boom, boom. That's great. Look at the studio. We're still here in the studio. Oh man, this show's cool. Making waves. We're connected with C. Michael at any moment now. Hey, C. Michael.
That's me.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
So let's just jump right into it. Damn it, I forgot to ask Jay Smooth's pronouns. Well, Jay, if you're watching, please type in your pronouns. C. Michael, please feel free to say who you are, what you are, why you are, all the things. Give us an intro, and please share your pronouns.
Nice. I'm C. Michael Menge. C. Michael's cool. It's my name. If you're a homie, you can call me C, but if you misgender me, you can't. That's the go-to. My pronouns are they, them. I'm trans, non-binary, trans mask. just like to name, if you're like, something's happening, this person's wearing 2 different earrings. Yeah, I'm an actor, improviser, I'm a teaching artist. I work mostly in the Twin Cities, so I do lots of scripted work. I'd say I'm like newer to improv, technically.